I'm Violet Deagle, and this is Carmen Rothwald. She's my godchild. My husband cooked with his mother. I learned to cook from my husband. I didn't know how to cook when I got married, and I had to cook for Thrashers. Oh my gosh. That was a nightmare, cooking for Thrashers. Oh. Today we're making stieren.
In my godmother's kitchen in Wishick, North Dakota.
You eat it with cucumber salad or lettuce salad, and it's just a dish that's all you have for a meal, is the stieren and the salad. When my grandkids would come to my house on the farm, and I'd make stieren, they loved it. They called it crumbs, which it really is. I'm adding 1 cup of milk to 3 eggs.
And 1 teaspoon of salt.
1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. What is it, 1 1/2?
Yep, 1 1/2, yep. And this is best over fresh garden lettuce in the spring, right?
Yeah, or cucumbers.
Or cucumbers later in the summer. It's almost like pancake batter.
Yeah, right.
So you got to get in there and stir and cut.
Yeah.
Should I help? Get in there.
Yeah.
Should we sample?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you too. Here, this is your spoon.
Ready? Yeah, I think it's done.
My name is Francis Meyer, and we're in Zeeland, North Dakota. Back in 1988, we had a drought, and I was farming. It didn't look very good that year, so I figured, well, I think I'll try the grocery store business. We've been in here ever since last year, and we sold it to my niece and her husband. Started out as a kind of a small venture, and didn't think it was going to last that long, but it did. I mean, when people have to drive out of town for groceries or anything, your basic needs, it's pretty much the end. And my niece came along and says, hey, don't close it. We'll buy it from you guys. So they moved back from Bismarck and took over. And I told them, I'll keep on making a sausage and run the meat department for you, as long as you want me to. So that's what I do. We used to actually fight at home who got to stay home and help folks make sausage. Most of the time I got to do that. And I enjoyed it. I did. I like to watch my folks go around, do different things, and it kind of interested me. So I enjoyed making the sausage. All of our meat comes in federally inspected, and it's mostly pork and a little bit of beef. And you cut it up, grind it, put your own seasonings in, whatever your heart desires, and you stuff it, smoke it, and hopefully it turns out to be good. Everybody's got different tastes. Everybody, no matter where you go to, this could use a little more of that. That could use a little bit more of that. But I used to try to stick with my guns and try to stay with what I like. And my mom always said, work like you're going to live forever, pray like you're going to die tomorrow. And that's pretty much the old German Russians. That's what they thought.
Okay, come on up here. This is everybody's favorite part of cooking. Have you ever broken egg before? We're demonstrating to the youngsters in the Napoleon school system how to bake Kuchen, potato bread, and make some sauerkraut. I always like to teach classes where we actually get people involved and into the bread dough and into the Kuchen dough and hands in the sauerkraut, because that's the best way to learn.
You guys are excellent.
The recipes that I use when I teach cooking classes are from my family. They're traditions that have been passed down from generation to generation. And these children have the same roots as I do. And so they easily related to all these wonderful recipes that I've collected over the past probably 5 years furiously from the generation above me, which will soon be gone. The recipes that were handed down from my great-grandparents to my grandparents to my mother to myself were by something called osmosis. Do you know what osmosis is? It's kind of like if I stand next to her, we're exchanging molecules all the time. I spent all my Saturday mornings in the kitchen watching my mother bake. And that's kind of how I learned how to do what I do. I think that somehow between a couple generations, our families have sort of lost a little bit of our German-Russian heritage, which was surrounding food. And these kids here are still fairly close to the land, but there are a lot of them that have moved away from here that absolutely have no idea about how important agriculture was and the gift of agriculture and food that the Germans from Russia brought to the state of North Dakota when they homesteaded. 3 pounds of cabbage and a teaspoon of salt. That's it. It's amazing, isn't it? It's just like science experiments all over the place. This is how we measure. Germans love food. Where I come from, somebody shows up on your doorstep, you just open another can of something and invite them in for dinner because that's how we showed love. Nobody ever gave you lots of hugs. Nobody ever said, I love you all the time. But they sure as heck, if you were well fed, you knew you were loved. I spend time in the kitchen and I invite them into the kitchen also so that someday when they all have families of their own, my grandkids, that they'll be able to say, this is something that my grandmother used to make and she used to make it with love.